Hello there, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Super Cast Brothers. Yeah, we're here. There's no funny things. I'm Zantok, otherwise known as Lister. We have, as always, Jonno, otherwise known as John, who's looking at his phone like a millennial does. And then we have our guest of the evening, making his at least once annual appearance, Kelly of the Jellies.
That's me. Hello. Thanks for having me on.
Yes,
Well,
he is
we
Again.
here.
gotta let you
He's
breathe
arrived.
sometimes. So, gentlemen, and I say that loosely, why are we here?
I don't know. Something about Kelly that rises through the air about once annually.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's that time of the season where, like, hey Kelly, so you put some characters on our wiki. Do you want to talk about them?
Yeah, yeah, if it happens every so often, we do this thing. We talk about these characters I help elaborate on and or contribute to. Um, who are we talking about again?
Oh, did we never tell you?
I don't think you guys ever told
I
me, but
wasn't sure if we did.
I'm gonna guess because I was reading up on some. I'm gonna guess. I
Okay.
think, if I'm correct, that it's Doc Lewis. Is it Doc Lewis?
I'm not going to tell you until you give the whole matchups.
Okay. I think it's Doc Lewis versus Tharja, and Issa versus Henry.
Okay, yeah, so we told you.
Interesting.
Perfect. Okay,
I legit
thought I read it.
I legit
was like,
couldn't remember if we had or not. I was like, if we have it, it's going to be a fun surprise.
I wasn't given a script to riff off, so there you go. We're just gonna go in. We'll do it live. We are doing it live.
Maybe next season we actually won't tell you, and we'll make it be like, okay, Kelly, so here's the 6 characters that you have left that we haven't talked about yet. Who do you think the matchups are? We'll see if we align on what the
That would be a
predictions
cool
are.
idea too. Yeah, I'll be
'Cause,
open for that. Sure.
actually, right now there are 7 characters that you've made that have not been in a Smash Dash at all. So
I've
I
been
don't know.
considering slowing down and letting the pace do its course so we can catch up, because I keep making more and then we just keeps pushing ahead.
Sometimes though, when you make more, it gives me better matchups. Because there's been a couple times I feel like it was last season where it's like I didn't know. It was like during playing, it's like, okay, so I guess these 2 characters kind of work on these 2 characters. I guess, and then you made more characters for we had that episode. It's like, oh, this makes a better matchup. Thank you, Kelly. Thank God. I see a few potential matchups with some of them, but I'm not like sure because your characters that you tend to make from the wiki are one usually things that I don't know what the fuck they are, and two, a lot of times they're out there. Like I don't know, Nanosar. That's very out there. It's like
the fringes of fringe
what?
picks sometimes.
Like all 3 of us have done some odd characters that we put on the wiki. We all done it. But
oh yeah.
I
I think the both of you have covered some of the biggest bases, like Kratos, Master Chief, Sly Cooper, some of the the top like dogs of the first on your mind sort of picks.
yeah.
So I think sometimes I want to try to skew more to I wouldn't say indie picks, but just the nicher ones.
Yeah. And there's still some big namers that we've never covered, that we've thought about, but we just sometimes it's a matter of this is a character we'd love to talk about, but any character that we can think of to put them in a matchup against them, they just destroy or get destroyed. It's like that's not fun. We want to have like somewhat of a balance usually. Sometimes we say F it, we don't care, we just want to talk about this character. But there's a lot of characters that we want to talk about, just like who's a good opponent for them. And then a few seasons ago, we started getting into themes, and themes have made it even more difficult.
I was gonna say it's funny that you mentioned that because for the characters we're talking about today, 3 out of 4 of them are more supplementary characters that are still kind of in the Nintendo circle, as it were. That they're not like the far-flung third-party choices. They were all 3 out of 4 of them were, I guess, revealed in our Smashtopia Direct about a year
Oh
ago.
yeah.
Oh, they were. I didn't even think
Oh, there
about
you
that.
go.
Damn,
A
I
hit
could have
that
I could have
was.
gotten like a Hulk before it had Nanosorbit in that too. Damn.
A full clean sweep.
But I did pick these three because or at least one of these matchups is very much because the vast majority of your character movesets that you make are for franchises that don't currently have anything in Smash. So when you made Doc Lewis and Tharja, I was like, oh shit. This is very outside the usual what I see from Kelly. That's going to be a Smash or Dash matchup, those two, because I can build them a certain way.
There you
Oh
go.
yeah. Yeah.
Issa, Joe, and
Oh,
Henry,
great.
I'm on a similar wavelength, but they're not quite the same kind of a deal. But I got something.
It's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah,
And
usually is.
we have prepared something else as always. At least it's always in the last couple of years here. Rate their chances
Oh
characters.
yes,
Start things off.
I thought you were referring to something else at first. I was like, wait, what else do we have? What is there something I'm forgetting? Are you doing a thing? I don't know what's happening.
No, like literally, it's the next step of this process today.
Oh yeah, it is. And with the rate their chances, we like while our guests always know who the Smash or Dash opponents are going to be, although maybe next season we won't tell Kelly. Um, rate their chances, we do like to keep as a fun little surprise. That's just fun. If they don't know who we're going to be talking about, we to survive. But we do like to make sure it's like, okay, does Kelly even know who this character is? Because if he doesn't, then we can't really talk about that. That doesn't make any sense.
You know, my gaming knowledge is it's sometimes it's vast and sometimes it's limited depending on who we're talking about. So,
I
but
mean,
it's always
that's
fun
all
to.
of us.
Yep, it's all relative.
I believe it's as large as your muscles, well structured.
Oh boy, muscles and my neck bulging out from rage when I don't know what a game series when I don't know anything about the game series that gets brought up.
So, Kelly, why don't you tell us about your favorite game series of all time, Tekken?
Angry old man
Mm-hmm.
and his angry son
Mm-hmm.
fight. One of them throws the other into a volcano,
Mm-hmm.
and then that angry son has another son,
Mm-hmm.
and I think somebody gets strapped to a jet, and there's a bear involved, and gets crazy, and yeah, demons.
Yeah. Honestly,
I can figure that. Yeah,
That was pretty
Tekken,
good.
Tekken,
I passed. I passed.
the Mishiba family
Yeah.
is so fucked. Honestly, it's like,
Mm.
how many times does one of you need to throw somebody else into a volcano or off a cliff or what the hell ever? It's like, you guys need therapy. Honestly. Christ. I thought I had anger issues. I do. But holy bejeebus.
Yeah, very temperamental family.
Yes. That cliff and volcano though should be the next Tekken stage in Smash though. Let's be real.
Mhm.
That'd be fun.
Iconic.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Ah. But we're not talking about anything else from Tekken today. That was it. But our first character for Rate the Chances is from a fighting game that does have representation in Smash.
Uh-huh.
Kelly, I wonder if I actually don't know how familiar you are with the franchise. I know you know who at least three of the characters we're talking about today are. I'm not entirely sure you know about two of them. But our first topic of discussion from Fatal Fury, Geese
Oh boy.
Howard. The
Oh
big
no.
bad of Fatal Fury himself, the M. Bison of the franchise. I don't know if he's the Heihachi, because everybody's a villain in Tekken. But
That dude's pretty scary. I
Yeah.
think he's the main villain of the series. He killed Terry Bogart's father, if I'm getting
Yep.
that right.
Yep.
He's kind of broken as a character. He's known for his busted, I think, counters and his projectile spamming and being able to fall off of buildings and be just fine, I guess.
Kind of like Heihachi and the rest of their family. There's a
Yeah.
lot of tossing off of buildings in these games.
Have either of you played any of the Fatal Fury games?
Only a very, very little bit on the Virtual Console a long time ago.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They got all the arcade archives now on the Switch and stuff, so
Oh, right.
I think they got a whole bunch available, but I never tried any of them.
I think again, like your history you've mentioned, it is proven to be vast in subjects you even know loosely about. So that's, I mean, all that was accurate as far as I know.
Sure.
Okay, so likelihood for Geese. What are we thinking here?
So it's a second character in a third-party franchise. We outside of Final Fantasy, and I guess Castlevania, we don't. Oh, and Street Fighter. Jesus Christ, it actually has happened a few times. But Sephiroth's the only time it hasn't been as an Echo.
Mm-hmm.
Geese is the primary villain. I don't know if he's necessarily the most likely character from the franchise. I kind of feel like he is because I think it'd be either him or Mai. And considering that they weren't even allowed to have Mai be as a background character in the King of Fighters Stadium stage, I'm kind of leaning Geese. Uh, but I'm not sure really. I think they're if they want a second Fatal Fury character, he's who I'm going to go to. But I don't know. I don't know. I kind of feel stuck in that. It's like, do we take a second Fatal Fury character? I know in King of Fighters are a pretty big franchise, but do
Mm-hmm.
we need that in Smash? Don't know.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same mind here. Like, and I mean, again, he spans King of Fighters and Fatal Fury. He's a staple of both, much like Terry. Um, and those are series like as we've learned with Terry's inclusion in Smash, they're larger in the grading fighter game community and just the greater gaming community than we had initially surmised, from like our Western viewpoint.
Yeah.
Um, so there's the popularities there, the iconicity, legacy, a lot of the tropes and standards that we lean towards for a likelihood increase in the scenario is there. He's a staple villain too, so that's cool. Um, but again, like you said, what's stopping them if they wanted to do another fighting game character from doing another Street Fighter or another Tekken or just something else entirely, Virtua Fighter from SNK. You have a ton of options.
Yep.
Samurai Showdown being at the forefront of the Smash community now, saying, "Oh, Nakaru for Smash," like that's gaining steam. So where does that lie? SNK's chances too. Like I agree, they have another shot at the character, but will that character be from Metal Slug? There's too many,
That's got
and
X-Force.
this is the issue.
They
This
could
is the issue with third
also
parties too. Like, yeah.
choose to go for a character that's more central to King of Fighters itself. Like, yeah, King of Fighters is kind of an odd. I say odd, but I like what the general theme of it is. Like, here's a fighting game for SNK. It has its own unique
Hmm.
original character, but it also pulls characters from Art of Fighting, Fatal Fury, Samurai Showdown, several other franchises, Psycho Soldier. They all have
Mhm.
characters in this game. It's kind of a like a versus Capcom game, but only one, only their base company,
Yeah.
which I would love Capcom to do that again as well.
Hell yeah.
But
It's like a TV series where a bunch of other TV shows are kind of in the same universe, and you always have characters like guesting on that show.
the DCCW just recently ended, but they did that for years with Green Arrow, Flash, Supergirl.
Hmm.
They had cross. They would do like a once they established multiple shows, they did like at least one crossover every season with all their shows. They were pretty good.
Yeah.
Makes you feel interconnected. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So SNK has a lot of options. I know I'm very likely underestimating Geese Fatal Fury. SNK as a whole, probably, just because it's not something I know a lot about, and it's outside of my general sphere of knowledge, so I don't see much about it, and I don't have great knowledge there. So he probably has better chances than what I personally think, but it's really hard for me to judge.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
I'll share a percentage. I'm thinking like 10%, because again, there is that element of it being likelier than and I think that pervades all fighting game franchises. Like I would not be surprised if Chun-Li were in Smash or whoever, someone from Tekken, Kuma, there you go, or Moku-chin.
I don't think it's going to be Kuma or Mokin if we get a second Tekken character. I don't think it'd be my personal pick either. Sorry, Elisa. But I think Tekken... God, I honestly don't know where to even begin with speculating with Tekken second characters, considering we all thought it'd be Heihachi. But now we know how Kazuya fights, it feels like it invalidates both Heihachi and Jin. It's like, I don't know who we pick next. Lars? I don't know.
Maybe. I know who I'd like to see, and Lars isn't towards the top of that list, but hey, we'll see. I actually already named
Roger Jr.
Kuma. Yeah, there you
What
go.
about,
Or the dinosaur one.
what about Bad?
What's his name? Alex.
Red Bull. Yeah. Red Bull the cat, Kelly?
I was gonna say, what about that Boxart Mega Man? Little
Technically in a Tekken game.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
I
should.
hate it. I hate it.
Oh, we can get Noctis as our next Tekken rep.
We can get Negan.
Could have gotten Colonel Sanders.
Yeah. Oh, actually, Geese could be our next Tekken rep.
That's right.
I'm not sure. I think the render I'm actually using for the video right now is his art from Tekken 7. So.
Oh, nice.
Okay, sweet. I was gonna ask because I think they did put him in one of the fighting games.
Yeah.
So he was a guest in Tekken 7.
Yeah, he's in Tekken 7 alongside Negan, Noctis, and whoever the hell else they got in that one.
Okay. Right. Yeah. I don't know about percentage. Like I was thinking like Jonno, I was thinking 10% as well. Because it's like if they had to pick an extra SNK character or rep, the villain duality hero like for Terry to Geese would be a good way to go. Hits harder, but slower. I don't know. I don't fully know even if that's accurate, but there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was initially thinking like somewhere around 4%. I was like, no, it probably is higher than that. Maybe 6, maybe 7. I already did the math, so I'm going to lock mine in at 7%, which will average all three of us out to 9. I think that works.
One of my favorite numbers.
And somehow that puts Geese in the top 10 so far of this season, because this is only our third Smash Bros. Episode of the season, but still. Congratulations, Geese, on making it the top 10 so far.
Don't kill us, please. You're only number 9.
A real Geese game, if you will. Untitled.
I was gonna go there. Untitled Geese game. Honestly, that should be the sequel. And you control multiple geese instead of just the one goose. That is brilliant. That is brilliant, honestly.
Good stuff.
All right, our second character. Again, I don't know. I feel like you at least know of them. I don't know if you've played their games, Kelly. But our second character is going to be Fawful from the Mario and Luigi RPG, specifically Superstar Saga, Bowser's Inside Story, in a very brief cameo in Partners in Time.
This is so quick aside here is there's a YouTuber I always like to watch. They make great like countdowns for video game topics called Fawful's Minion, and they have some really good videos. Go check them out. I watched them like way back in like high school, and they're still active, I believe. And I didn't play Partners in Time until about just before I think university. And I really like that's arguably one of like maybe like some might consider it the best of the Mario and Luigi games, depending on who you ask.
Agreed.
And Fawful as a villain is a very colorful villain. He's very wacky. He has chortles. He's the mustard of your doom. Yeah, what's not to like? He's one of the most fleshed out Mario villains, I'd say. So definitely
Yeah.
up there.
I
Yeah.
think of all characters that are unique to the Mario and Luigi RPG franchise, Fawful, I think, is the one that is not only probably the most well liked by fans, but I think he also has like the best chances of getting out of that franchise and into literally anything else, whether it's a Paper Mario, a Mario sports game. Somehow I don't see a Mario Party happening, and or Smash even. I don't think it's gonna be Prince
Mhm.
Paisley. It's not gonna be Prince Dreambert. It's not going to be any of the plug people in Brothership. It's pretty much Fawful or bust, I feel like. The only problem is spin-offs generally in Smash are lucky to get music.
Yeah, really.
And
Not much
it's a
representation there.
goddamn shame.
Mhm.
Yeah. Agreed. So Fawful or who's bust?
You.
Bust, everybody's favorite fan favorite character from that one game in the
Yeah. Oh,
Bust
if you
Bust
put it
your
into the
Wall.
Mario wiki, it's the bust of Shakespeare from Mario's Missing. You learn
Oh.
more every day.
But funnily, Fawful is not the first character from Mario and Luigi that we've talked about on this podcast. We previously
Really?
featured Midbus in a Smash Dash.
Oh yeah.
The pig battle royale of Midbus, Pigma Dengar, Imbor, and Whizpig. That was an episode.
Getting piggy with it.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
It was the thing that we did.
It was, and that's how the song starts. Yeah, there was a time when, Fawful was just the thing, like
Mm-hmm.
he was super in line with just like the way he spoke was in line with the humor of the time, and he
Yeah,
felt just like
cheeseburger.
very
I had
Fa-
cheeseburgers.
yeah
Fawful came out
yeah
perfectly in the time frame of when the people our age were in their lol so random phase. That
Yeah.
is Fawful. Fawful is that phase as a character.
that's why I love him.
If
That was very much me at the time.
And if he released now for the first time, he probably would not have been as well received, I would guess. That said,
Oh,
I
boy.
don't really know what's going on with the young kids these days, so who knows? Maybe they're still having a lull so random phase. I don't know. People that age terrify me just on the basis that they exist.
If Fawful came out today in this day and age, it would just be Fawful's head coming out of a toilet. Let's be fair.
I would like to officially tender my resignation from this show. Goodbye.
Okay. Perfect.
Good night, everybody.
Hey, crossover into
Ah.
Fortnite finally. Yeah, but I don't think his chances are that great. I mean, I tend to agree that he has a likelihood to make it into another RPG. Like I would love him. I mean, now that Mario and Luigi's back in a Mario and Luigi sequel again, where he's more at the forefront, or at least running the bad shop. Like I think in Partners in Time, that's where that was.
I don't remember what the
Up
shop is,
into
but
it.
it's like it's in some hidden pipe in the sewers that only the babies
Mhm.
can access. That's all I remember. And I think he has amnesia.
He did, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It also kind of feels like his time has passed currently, like as far as getting into Smash goes. Like he would need that extra push because he's not quite retro, but he's not quite relevant either.
Yeah.
Um,
If
yeah.
if we were if the Mario and Luigi remakes were happening now, Superstar's talking Bowser's Inside Story, I think his chances would be higher. But it's been several
Hmm.
years since then, and I don't. Was Ultimate happening when those games released? Like, when did they even come out?
I don't know.
Superstar Saga remake.
Yeah, that and
Did that,
Bowser's,
did that come out? Did that come out after
2018.
Story?
The Bowser Inside Story remake came out in 2018, which is right when Ultimate released.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah,
Hmm.
really bad timing. Really bad timing.
It's the boat.
Like if Sakurai,
Yeah.
honestly, Sakurai could have done that instead of fucking Piranha Plant.
Mm.
He could have done a lot of things, but yeah, that's one of them for sure. I mean, I would still love the idea. I still love the idea of Fawful in the game. Like he obviously brings a unique personality and a unique moveset to Smash, and he would naturally bring in like Superstar Saga or whatever themed stage, which would be awesome.
Yeah.
Likelihood though, I mean, for me, it's less than Geese. Even though he's a Mario character, I think that there are other Mario characters, a
There are
number of them.
there's other Mario
Yeah.
RPG characters. Like, I'm sorry, Paper Mario?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, putting that into perspective, it's definitely not happening next game.
Have we even talked about Paper Mario in this? Oh, we have.
Yeah, I
Oh,
believe so.
no, we haven't. But there's,
We're getting.
we're going to. Spoilers. He's on the docket
Oh yeah.
for
Yeah,
this
yeah,
season
yeah.
at some point.
It's kind of looking like by the time we get there, they'll probably have forgotten that we said this. So cool. I don't know. Like he's Nintendo, he's Mario, and I think that those are just naturally a couple points on the radar.
Yep.
Like 4% for me.
4%. I actually think he's higher than Geese, largely because of Mario, and I think there's a lot different that you could do with him. Like,
Oh,
yeah, obviously pull from his games, but he's got weird shit going on with him. I think you can do things with that. I'm gonna go with 11%.
Sweet.
I see. I can understand. I think what Jonno, what you're saying was that how I think Geese has more momentum than Fawful. They're more
Mhm.
that he's more in the
Right.
the current zeitgeist. I
Mhm.
feel like Fawful is sort of a character like Pauline. Like if you want to reintroduce them, you can't just pluck them from their last appearance in a game. You have to kind of lead up to that. Like you can't just put like with Pauline, like they didn't just put her in like Mario Party or Strikers. They had to reintroduce her with a new kind of role in Odyssey first. So I feel like Fawful would be the type of character that needs to be have a more current appearance first before they enter that sort of consideration. So I would say
Mhm.
number wise, I would go right in the middle. I'd say 7%.
Your argument
Okay.
has actually made me want to lower my percent too. I'm gonna go to 6.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think that what you said makes a lot of sense. Like, yeah, with Pauline, yes, they did add her to Mario Party and what was it, Mario Golf, I think, but it was only after
Mhm.
Odyssey brought her back into the public spotlight,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that's gonna put
And now
Fawful,
Pauline, I would not. Yeah.
and that puts Fawful at
Yeah.
5.67% chances. Also in the top 10. Let's go.
He has Fury.
Ah,
5.7.
John, you were gonna say something?
Oh yeah, with Pauline, I would not be surprised if she made it into Smash now. So
Yeah,
congrats. Sure.
He's
Pauline.
possible.
I think the next match is Pauline or Waluigi, and I know it's painful to think about.
Waluigi.
That's my heart, but my brain is saying it's probably gonna be Pauline, which I won't
Yeah.
hate. I would prefer that over Daisy or Piranha Plant, but honestly, I wouldn't hate Daisy if she wasn't an Echo. Honestly, I think I'd be
Mhm.
a lot more warm to her if she was unique. I'd be a lot more warm to any character that was unique, which is why I have a tiny bit of respect for Piranha Plant, but it's small.
Yeah.
Don't think about it. Don't do it. Moving on. Our next character is from the Wario franchise.
Ooh.
Ashley of WarioWare. Commonly
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
just gonna turn you
Dang it.
into something. Um commonly I think considered the most popular WarioWare character, and the ones that people ask for in Smash the most. Mona is who I always thought it should be, like during the Brawl days, because she's got all her different jobs that she can pull from. But Ashley,
Mhm.
we've got a mage who's got a little imp assistant, and we don't really know really what she can do with her magic other than make plants grow and whatever she says in her song. So she's honestly a blank slate. You can do whatever you want with Ashley.
Yeah.
You turn people into spoons. She turned her teacher into a spoon. That's one of the song lyrics, and that's terrifying because what happened after that? Did the teacher stay a spoon forever? It's horrifying the more you think about it.
You know how sometimes you're washing dishes and you have the garbage disposal on and your spoon just falls into the garbage disposal and you try to get it out and it's all horribly scratched up?
hmm
Yeah. That's the final smash.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think Ashley's just like they didn't. I don't know if they anticipated her being like becoming like one of the fan favorites of the Wario series because she's definitely has something like she feels a lot more like realized in a sense than some of the other characters do because she's like got like her own she has her very own dedicated mini game in WarioWare Gold where she has these pumpkins like she's doing like basically a pumpkin tower defense sort of mini game.
Hmm.
She has, her themes. One of her theme songs has had a lot of remixes over the years. She has, she's top tier if that counts for anything in WarioWare. Get It Together has a sort of Smash Bros esque side mode that you can
Hmm.
play as. So she can fly and shoot and like omnidirectional on her broom. She's busted. Not as busted as Orbulon, but doesn't matter.
And
So
this,
yeah, she's definitely like the one that stands out for like fan favorites. I think she is the most like realizable character if the WarioWare series were to get one. Maybe not like in terms of potential as you see Mona with her jobs, but just for the staying like the momentum that she carries.
yeah. There's really only, I would say, four WarioWare characters that I think have that could be added into Smash. And it's Ashley, Mona, 9 Volt, and Orbulon. The rest of them, I just don't see it. Maybe, I mean, if you want a basic martial artist, yeah, sure. Hey, there's Young Cricket, but there's better options. I don't see Krygor. I don't see Dribble and Spit. No. Uh, God, who even else is there? I don't really see
Penny's
Cat and Anna. Maybe Cat and Anna. Penny and
this is
Krygor
true.
are the same. Mike, no. Jimmy T. Again, if you want something of his vibe, there's other options.
Eoro,
Yeah, P-Roll.
Pyoro, however.
No, that leaker got shot.
Oh yeah, I forgot that was the name of the leaker.
Yeah, and then they started getting things wrong. It's like, well, I closed my account. It's like, well, it's better than backpedaling, like in the continuing to do false information, like some do.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but I mean, I echo these thoughts entirely. I think yeah, they're Ashley and Mona are the two most likeliest for similar and different reasons. But Ashley's here today, and yeah, I agree that she's a very likely option for a second Mario character in Smash. And there's really nothing against her. I guess the discussion just comes down to: are we including another WarioWare character?
Yeah,
And
that's the question.
there you go.
And
Yeah.
then beyond that, it's WarioWare or Wario Land. Hello, Captain Syrup.
Yep. 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 But otherwise, she's the most popular WarioWare character.
Yeah,
There you go.
easily.
Blammo. Mm-hmm. Uh, I'm kind of struggling. What are you guys thinking about percentages?
I think it's good. I think it's good. Again, the hard question is second Wario character. Not something we can readily predict, but we got at least two WarioWare games on the Switch, which is 1 to 2 more than expected.
Yeah, really.
I think one WarioWare game is, we kind of thought we would get. It was like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, it's been a while. This makes sense. A second was like, what?
Wario
Okay,
was really blowing up this
interesting.
console generation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we got it was Get It Together and something, I don't remember what the other one.
Move it.
Move It. Yes, that's the new one. And then on 3DS, like they had WarioWare Gold, and I think one more. I don't remember for sure.
I think that was the 3DS.
Yeah, I know there was DIY on like the DSi, which okay.
I like DIY. That was
The DSi was odd though with some of the things it did.
yeah.
But like I think it's possible we can get a second WarioWare character. Nintendo seems to value the series. They're putting more focus on it than they are on Rhythm Heaven, and those are two very
Mhm.
similar niches with gameplay. And if they're putting more attention on one, then I think there's a shot. Sakurai was considering Chorus Kids supposedly for Wii U. Maybe since WarioWare is more in the light, they'll put more attention that way. And with her being a blank slate mage, which we don't really have, we have characters that like half mages or 3/4 mages in Smash, but we don't have a pure mage as of yet. Ashley's a good option because you're not really limited by anything. You can do whatever you want. All we know is red, and she makes plants grow when she screws up.
She has a lot of. I've noticed that a lot of her stages and mini games have a focus on food. Like I
Hmm.
think there was like there was in Game of Wario, her whole thing was about going to this cookie like candy land and trying to collect cookies. And then there was a thing with like in Move It about feeding Red like foods and fruits to make him grow bigger.
I mean, she is a
Just
child, so that kind of makes
I
sense.
think I like the headcanon that she doesn't know how to cook, so she just magics up food. Because that was the thing in Get It Together, where she was like it literally opens on her and Red, they're both starving, and she just looks at Red. She starts, fantasizing like he's like a hamburger, and she just starts licking her lips. And Red's like, "Why are you looking at me, Ashley?" So she starts like manifesting donuts and stuff all out of nowhere. So
Man, I
I
wish
got
I
a
could
weird
manifest
fixation on
donuts out
food.
of nowhere.
But yeah,
God. But I think Ashley, I'm actually gonna make this suggestion for a future Ashley moveset. She should have a fail mechanic where
mm,
something else, like there's a percentage chance of like the spell she's trying to cast for like her special moves doesn't come out quite right, and it does something else. Maybe it could be a complete different effect. It could be like a critical hit, stronger attack. I don't really know, but considering a part of her magic is oh no, not again.
oh no, not again. Yeah,
I like it.
that'd be
Yeah.
Percent wise, I feel pretty strong about Ashley. I'm not going to go with an 80% ranking, but I'm going to go with 65.
mm.
Yeah, I can see the logic. I will go a little lower, but over 50, so like 55, 55.
All right.
65, 55. How about 45?
I thought you were
Just
going to
to
say
be
60.
45
to
works
continue the
just
trend.
fine.
Just under halfway. She definitely has that momentum right now, as does the series. And I think you mentioned Rhythm Heaven that she's actually included, I think, in one of maybe the 3DS Rhythm Heaven, like the monkey dance game.
Yeah,
She's
that's right.
included in there. So
Oh,
if
is
you ever
she?
want to see Ashley dancing with some monkeys, go check that out.
Hmm.
Yeah,
All right.
overlap again.
Now on to an even likelier option.
And yes, this character is actually the one that I think is going to be have the highest rating of the night. Uh,
Mm.
I'm very excited about this. Kelly, I know you know him. It's Putt-Putt!
Say again, sorry.
Putt-Putt, the car!
Oh, Popeye! I didn't quite catch that. Popeye
What?
the Sailor Man. Hey, Palookas.
No. Not Pop. What? Kelly,
Popeye?
no!
Ooh, sorry, I butchered that one. I changed the whole trajectory there. I'm sorry, I
Oh
messed up your
my
grand reveal,
gosh.
Mister. I'm so sorry.
Oh my word.
We
Please go
only
again.
talk about one non-video game character a season that's in the penultimate Smasher Dash. Only one! And we're not there yet!
Sorry, man.
No, it's Putt-Putt the fucking purple car.
Putt-Putt, okay. Not not Popeye.
No!
Well, he is in
Not,
the public
not,
domain now. He is in the public domain.
not a likely character at all.
Mm,
It would be extremely funny, but yeah,
yeah.
Putt-Putt has no chance. Let's be real with this. We just thought it'd be funny to talk about him. He is and you've made a character you made Freddy Fish. That's right, that's what it was. So we were just like, okay, he made Freddy Fish. Let's put Putt-Putt in here because that's amusing to me. Another character from the Humongous Entertainment Company, which was a big part of gaming for my childhood. He
Yeah.
is a talking car that drives itself. It has its own little pet named Pep, the dog. He can. I don't know what it is he has that lets him pick up items. It's like his antenna or something. I think that he can
Yeah, it's a
move
little
around.
dashboard antenna.
Yeah, he can pick up objects with pretty good precision. Uh, he travels through time. He goes to the moon. He gets in the race. He goes to the zoo. There's a few other
There's a lot of
things I don't
things.
remember. He joins the parade. That's his first appearance. He looks a little odd in that one, but first game syndrome. It's a thing. It happens.
Still gotta check out those games. I have them all on Steam from a Humble Bundle purchase. But I
Yeah,
never
me
played any
too.
of them.
Yeah.
They're bringing back the backyard sports games finally. Some other company bought them, and they've been slowly. They had to rebuild them, and they've been putting them all on Steam. And they said that once they're all on Steam, they want to start making new ones. Which is like, you have
Yeah.
my attention.
Nice to see fan demand there.
Oh yeah. But as far as Putt-Putt's chances, it's easily not happening. Would be extremely cool. Honestly, I would lose my fucking shit. Out of disbelief. Less so of excitement, more of disbelief. A little bit of excitement because it's like, oh my god, this is actually really cool. But also just like this could have been Gino. This could have been Waluigi. It could have been Sly Cooper. But I'll take it because it's funny and it's my childhood. But yeah. Yeah.
I'm so curious on what Putt-Putt would even do in the moveset. I'm sure that there's a lot. It's just like, what?
I would have to. I don't know if he has a good wiki that really goes over all of the like items and such that there are in the game. But I know there's definitely material to pull from. Besides just ramming into people, which that's an obvious one that you can do. But there's stuff. I just don't know offhand what is. Like in any of the Humongous Entertainment characters, I would have to replay the games to really get good ideas and like, okay, take note of all of their the key items and come up with things like that. Like Spy Fox, I think I'd have the easiest time with. I'd like to have them.
Spy and a fox,
and he's got a lot of gadgets. I would like to get Putt-Putt, Spy Fox, and Pajama Sam on the wiki someday. I just haven't yet. I have a lot of characters and stages and things I want to do, and non-Smashtopia things I want to do, and I don't have the time for them all.
The Putt-Putt in the first game does look fun.
Yeah, again, it's first game syndrome.
Yep. He has a pet dog and he eats cotton candy, so you can start there. Okay, but yeah, 1%.
1%.
That low, huh?
Yeah.
Jeez. I'm gonna give him 2% just to be kind.
Okay.
2%.
You're gonna actually make me do
You
math now.
I think you're the kindest one here, Kelly, so that tracks.
Oh, thanks.
Oh,
yeah, I
no.
just think I would think back to the Hudson, or sorry, the Hornet car from that one Sega fighting game.
Oh.
I think Fighting Vipers, maybe. I'm not sure. But,
yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
with his wheels.
He can definitely do stuff like, and I think his wheels are like kind of bouncy or something. Maybe that's just in one game, so he could actually have decent jumps. It's
Yeah, it's a
weird.
bit rubbery in his physics.
And then Pep's obviously going to be a taunt, a la Morgana. But God, I did my shit. I can't lie. But that brings us out to a 1.33% chance for Putt-Putt. And he's the first character tonight that doesn't make our current season 6 top 10.
Oof.
Wow. The next
Went out
character
for
might do
Putt-Putt.
the same.
And none of them are in the top 10 for overall since season 3. So they got a hard barrier to get into that. A hard barrier of 66.5% to reach these top 10
wow.
overall. Our next
Okay.
character is one that I know, Kelly. I'm just gonna let you start as soon as I say the name. You can start talking about him because you're gonna have the most to say about this guy and maybe his
Boy.
friend. Quote from Cave Story.
Oh,
Kelly,
now we're talking.
what are you thinking about Quote in Smash? We know you're very positive, but what are we thinking on his chances, pros,
Oh,
cons, all of that?
I mean, I don't know what I can say that hasn't already been said about Quote. Granddaddy of indie games, yada yada. In terms of raw Smash chances, I think he skews honestly on the lower end because it's Cave Story. It's been done a million times. It's appeared. They've cameoed. Quote and Curly have cameoed in a million things. Maybe not a million. That's being generous, but it's all depends on how if they were to delve into third-party indie titles, would they skew classic or would they skew more modern? I would feel like with if Sans Undertale is anything to signify, I think they would choose the latter, more modern indie titles, but I don't know. Quote's a tough one to nail down, honestly, because it's so influential and iconic, but at the same time they're
Mhm.
kind of quiet. He's kind of a quietly famous icon, if that makes sense.
Oh God,
Literally, because
Yeah.
he doesn't say anything, because he's mute.
you brought up Undertale being a modern. I just let check its release date. It's Undertale's almost 10 years old. It'll be it'll
Modern-esque, yeah,
it's going to be
2015, I
10 in
think.
September.
Oh
That's
my goodness.
wild. God,
Wow.
Mhm.
it's like
Yeah.
we I've made it no secret that my opinion on Indies and Smash is not a positive one. Some people in our circle think that we're gonna get like 4 or 5 indies in the next Smash game, and I'm just like, you've lost your goddamn marbles. I think one, maybe two, is possible in the next game. I don't think it's gonna be a lot though. The problem is, who do you go with? That's always the question of anything. It's just like, there's a lot of options here. This character's one of them, but do you go with this character or one of these 20 others? And the
Mm.
question of like, do you go with an older indie or a more modern indie? I'm of two minds about it because on the one hand, it makes sense to go with a modern one because that's more marketable, which is what Smash is really looking for when it comes to DLC. And I think if we get an indie, they're going to be a DLC character.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But every indie that I think would be good for Smash is, I don't want to use the word old, but they're all the like the big iconic ones that people are going to recognize. Quote, Shantae, Shovel Knight,
Mhm.
Sans. They're not new. Sans is 10 years old. I,
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's
Mhm.
not modern, but he ain't a spring chicken.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So it's kind of hard to say. Like, I feel like there are some that you just know aren't going to happen. Belatro's not going to get a playable character. It may have been a nominee for Game of the Year. It's not going to get a playable character because how? How?
Yeah.
Right.
Um, it's a trophy, I could honestly say. But I feel like it needs to be one of the bigger names of recognizability, whether that is a modern character or an older character. I think that's the only way that you can go with adding an indie into Smash. Steve,
Think
without
that
mind,
yeah.
with before he was bought by Minecraft or by Microsoft, fucking goddamn, Minecraft was indie when it was first a new thing. Now it's not really. Um,
Mhm.
and it's in. Would it have gotten in without Microsoft? Honestly, I think it would have because Minecraft is just stupid, crazy big. The only thing that might have stopped it is if like assuming Microsoft didn't own it, and if Notch still had it, is if he had said nah. But beyond that, I think it would have made it.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing for Quote with I guess Nicalis now owns him, but or like Daisuke Amaya, the original creator. I could It'd be so easy if he'd still like had the rights to it for Sakurai just to call him and say like, hey, can we use Cave Story for Smash? And Maya would be like, yeah, please, I'd love that.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
imagine, but
Or
Nikala speaking the whole thing now, harder to
and
say.
that also makes me wonder. We know Sakurai is at least acquainted. I don't know if he would call. I don't know if they call each other friends, but he's at least acquainted with the creator of Undertale. Uh, so if Nintendo or
Yeah.
Smash, they were just like, we want Undertale in Smash, Sakurai would it would just be like he just have to call the guy any time of day. He'd be like, hey, Sand in Smash, and be like, after he passes out and wakes back up, yes.
Yeah.
There would be like zero discussion. Be like, yes.
Toby Fox would have to beat him and beat Sakurai in Smash, and then if he wins, then yeah, he'll say sure,
Yeah.
pull your moves.
There you go.
It's like it's hard with indies to judge any of them honestly because we're in more or less uncharted territory. I think it's possible. I just don't know who. I think Quill has good chances of them, but chances overall is hard.
Yeah, yeah. All good discussion. My mind goes to the place for likelihood with indies and Smash. Kind of where we got a little bit of that in Ultimate, and maybe you start with what we've already got. Like if Ultimate was this perfect zeitgeist for Shovel Knight to be an assist trophy, for Shantae to be a spirit, for Sans to get a Mii costume, perhaps that's kind of perceived,
I
and
think all
it
three of
seems
them
that
have
way
me
through the Smash
costumes.
community. Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, and Shantae came
Um,
with music, and so did Sans.
mhm.
That's right.
Yeah. And he remixes both, I think. For them, those three to get that recognition, I think that they, and it feels that way in the Smash community too, are kind of bubbling towards the top of that pile.
Yeah,
I would perceive quote kind of in the middle of it all. It's just hard to telegraph for all the reasons Kelly had mentioned. Quote has crossovered into a bunch of things already, and is still present. But when I think of Cave Story's legacy as like kind of the progenitor indie breakout title, it's also like is it as effective today as it was back then? And in the face of Shovel Knight or Shantae or Sans or whatever, who feel more like the more pop. It's a lot. It's kind of akin to, maybe not exactly, but like Pitfall Harry or like Frogger versus Mario. To where
Hit the
there is
groundwork.
an yeah. There's this extreme. They were before, they were in the before times in the 70s and early 80s, but then there were ones that have perfected the formula. um Not it's a loose comparison because Cave Story itself is a very polished game. uh but yeah, it seems like that's partially the perception, like they are not as fresh as they used to be, even though they're in the public eye still. um yeah, so they definitely wouldn't be most likely in my mind, but they still have a chance.
yeah.
Well
Mhm.
said. Yeah.
So God, it's hard to telegraph. I think that I'm going to give them the highest percentage that I've given a character today besides Ashley.
I was gonna
Um,
say you're gonna give him higher than
yeah,
Ashley after that comment. That makes no
no,
sense.
I'm thinking like maybe 20%.
Mm-hmm.
20
I was
was
thinking
my
the
high
exact
bar.
same.
I was thinking like this
Mm-hmm.
20 is my ceiling, and then we're just like going from the arguments like how low am I going from there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was thinking exactly 20% as well. Funnily enough, so one
Yeah,
fifth definitely doable, but hard to say with what's come after. So
yeah.
Here's where I'm now in a pickle. I don't think it's 20 anymore. I kind of feel like 20% is might what I say for insert indie here. If we were just discussing literally any indie just period gets in Smash, I think I would slot it at 20%. Honestly. So even with that option, I don't think I can put quote at 20. I'm gonna go 10. I think 10% is fair.
Okay.
sure. And yeah, because like indies kind of gravitate towards other indies, and I feel like games like Fray Makers or Blade Strangers, like with almost all indie casts, they kind of they fill that need for indies to kind of coalesce with each
Yeah.
other, and yeah, like when you
Mhm.
pick one indie, how much does that open the door for other indies, if at all, in a game like Smash? So
Yeah.
Right. All right.
difficult to say.
Yeah, and I mean, to that comment, it's the same for the more popular indies. Like if Shovel Knight was in Rivals of Aether, does Shovel Knight need to be playable in Smash?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think
Mhm.
I personally I don't think that's an argument. Like, so he's in a different game from a different company that works differently.
I
So
mean, they would take up Nintendo's offer. That's true.
it's like, hey, this character is in PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale. Do they need to be in Smash? Who the fuck cares?
You're right. Fat
If
Princess
I
for
want,
Smash.
I was gonna say Colonel Raddick. I was like, what's a dumb one I could say? Colonel Raddick, sure. It's like Cooper. I don't give a shit that slides in PlayStation All Stars. Put it in Smash, motherfuckers. I don't care.
Sly Cooper for Switch 2, as it were.
Yes!
Never
Re-release
know.
those
I don't.
games, please.
Super Mario Cooper, the crossover event.
Ooh, that'd be something.
Anyways, that is all of our rate their chances for this episode. 4 out of our 5 characters have made it into this season's top 10 so far. I doubt that at least one of them will be there at the end of the season. But yeah, I mean, we've only done 3 Smash Dashes, and I definitely see some characters that we're talking about later season that I'm giving more than 10% to, probably. So we'll see how that shakes out. But I will say that right now, our number 1 is Ashley. She's the highest rated character we have so far this season. As far as total overall, Ashley falls, looks like around the 15. No, ooh. She's around the 20-ish, 18 to 20-ish mark overall across all seasons.
Wow. We've thought highly of many characters.
Octoling is our number 1 period.
That is a near guarantee.
92.33% chance is what we said.
I agree with that to this day.
Me too. Yeah. Anyways, let's move on to our main event, Smash or Dash. Kelly, you already said what our matchups were. It's also in the title, so nobody is surprised, assuming they read titles.
I'm just surprised that we have 2 Fire Emblem Awakening characters here today.
Who?
Henry.
Oh yeah. Oh man, we got 2 Henrys in the, well, potentially. You've got Henry Fleming.
Yep.
From and we all know Codename Steam is actually a Fire Emblem game in disguise. So
That's true.
you know,
that's true.
It all comes full circle. It's all interconnected, right? There you go.
Jonno, I want to talk about Henry Fleming in a Smash or Dash. I haven't watched or played the game, but I want to talk about it because what the hell happened to the marketing there? Jesus
I wouldn't
Christ.
be against it.
And also, Henry is a an alt that you have written down for Tharja. So
yes, white hair and all.
Henry from No More Heroes.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a Tharja alt.
Yes.
Really something.
Imagine being Tharja and it's like, oh, your friend Henry's here, and she's like, really?
No,
like, you're not. I don't know who you are. Who the hell is this? This isn't Henry. This isn't the Henry I know. Just kidding. He's over there. Really?
I also don't think Tharja would say Henry's her friend.
Oh no, they're good friends.
Are they friends? Or are they just yeah, we were both Dark Readers from Plegia and we both defected. That doesn't mean we're friends.
They both have I think there's like a support where they both have like a curse fight, and they're like,
yeah, that's what I was imagining.
Oh yeah, well I canceled your curse. Well, I canceled the cancel to your curse, and it
oh my god,
infinity.
This is like when you play like stupid shit with your friends as a child, and you're just like, okay, well I do this. Well, no, I do this. Like, well, I'm immune to that. And yeah, it's like,
yep.
Oh my god,
that's exactly it. That with dark magic. There you go.
All right. First matchup. We have here 2 characters that are not the primary character of their franchise, I don't know if secondary. I think secondary is the right word for one of. I don't know if secondary is the right word for the other. Kelly, you can correct me on that. And by that basis, I decided that they would be a good matchup. They are both. One of them is a Nintendo franchise that is, I think, ignored. Might be a good word for kind of how Nintendo treats it. And then a franchise that definitely is not ignored by its creator, and they like doing some wacky, crazy shit. Issa Joe of Sin and Punishment, whatever his particular game was called, Star Successor, versus Henry of No More Heroes, the franchise, like multiples. So I don't know either of these characters. I don't know if you even know either of these characters. Kelly, I know you know both. So, but judging from Jonno's camera reaction there, Kelly, will you please give us an introduction to both of these characters?
Sure, by all means. I thought with all the lead up with Doc and Tharja, what we were gonna that was gonna be the first matchup on the docket, but way to subvert expectations. So instead, let's start with Issa. So Sin and Punishment, Star Successor is the Wii sequel to the original N64 Sin and Punishment, and you play as Issa Joe, who is the son of the Saki Amamiya, the first game's protagonist, set in the future. Everything has gone to shit. There's 4 Earths because the other 3 kind of got polluted or blew up or something. They don't really make it clear. And Issa is he's basically I don't know, a mercenary or a soldier. He's working with a group called the Nebulox, at least at the start of the game, and he's ordered to hunt down and assassinate an alien girl named Kachi. And he finds Kachi, but this happens in media res when you start the game, so him and Kachi are on the run, and I guess they're friends all of a sudden. So he's helping Kachi escape from the Nebulox, because I guess they're not friends anymore. And yeah, and a lot of robots and monsters and lasers and stuff happens, and yeah, everything's trying to kill them both, and good times. And he's got a lightsaber that also a plasma gun, so there's that.
Yeah. And how about some Henry? What's going on over there in that world?
So Henry, yeah, so oh boy, I guess they can't really talk about Henry without spoiling No More Heroes. So spoilers for the No More Heroes series. Henry Cooldown. He had a mystery.
I didn't know that was his name. I didn't know it was Cooldown.
Henry Cooldown. I should have put that in the full thing, but Henry Cooldown. He's a mysterious, suave, handsome foil to Travis's more brash and brutish style of sword fighting. Also wields a beam katana with a cross guard before Kylo Ren made it cool. He was the original. So Henry, it's revealed at the end, the very last minute of the game, that this dude who's been it basically is a parody of like the contrived sort of rival to the protagonist. He's your Irish twin brother. And yeah, what was that for a revelation? Right before the credits drop, he serves as the real final boss in the first game of No More Heroes. So you fight him, credits roll. Do they kill each other? Who knows? Maybe, maybe not. Except they don't, because a sequel comes out.
I was gonna say.
Yeah. And so Henry Henry kind of shows up later in the game. You find out he's been frozen in carbonite by this big machine that he destroyed for. He basically stole a kill for Travis, this giant machine called Let's Shake in the first game, and then Let's Shake reappears as a boss you actually get to fight, and he's frozen Henry in carbonite on the side. And then Henry has a nightmare where he's being assaulted by a little girl with giant mech arms, and he fights her in a dream. Then he wakes up, and then him and Travis are kind of on good terms now, but they still have a sibling rivalry to deal with. I could go on, but
you can, yeah, feel free.
So other things that connect both these characters that we can see, that is, they are both related to the franchise's main character. I guess it's kind of hard to say franchise main character for Sin and Punishment, but son of Saki Amamiya, and Henry being the long lost twin brother of Travis Touchdown, and then they both have beam weaponry.
There you go.
Yeah,
it's a great matchup. I'm so good at this.
You could say that Henry is the second coolest sibling rival in video games. Second only, of course, to Virgil from.
Okay, I was gonna say, if you don't say Dante and Virgil, then it's definitely not second.
I see the logic in the matchup here, so that's good.
We God, we haven't talked about. I don't think we've ever talked about Dante yet on the show either. It's like we want to, but it's like I don't remember. Was this before
No,
episode? Was
Dante,
this,
Dante won Tournament of Champions one year.
who did we pick? That must have been the Kamiya episode. That must have been the Hideki Kamiya
Mhm.
episode then, because I don't know any other time. Because Dante is one. It's like anybody we put him up against, he's going to win. So,
Yep.
which evidenced by him winning Tournament of Champions. Okay, yeah, I was just like, he was in the Hideki Kamiya episode. We put him against Jill Valentine.
Oh, that would be a good matchup.
Yeah. Four franchises that Hideki Kamiya worked on. It was
Yeah.
Wonderful 101, Beautiful Joe, Resident Evil, because he worked on like the first one or two games, and Dante.
Oh. Interesting. The thread that connects them all.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's the obligatory Dante reference for all you DMC fans at home.
Yeah, Kellyjelly Special, featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry series.
Slap the seal on there. We've done it.
And Knuckles.
And Knuckles. Can't forget Knuckles.
Well, actually, we haven't. No, we have talked. When did we talk about Knuckles? We've done it in a rate their chance.
Funky mode.
It was in a rate their chances. Is when we talked about Knuckles. It looks like. Well, it's probably last season. There's too many episodes. I can't remember everything. Anyways, Issa Joe and Henry. Both of these characters are two that you have made movesets for in the Smashtopia Wiki. For me, doing a very brief just mentioning of things that you have them do. Issa will has his dolphin gun, that he could use for projectiles on his standard special. He has a slash attack with it on his side. He has the levitation unit to hover in the air for his up. Free aim, where there's a lot of text here. It's another projectile move on his down special. I'm assuming with the dolphin gun. He has a special evasion extra skill with a Leviathan unit, and his final smash is a combo attack, essentially a series of combo attacks with a large beam cannon called Ruffian Morph. And then on Henry, you have him doing shooting dark orbs for his standard special, having a relentless barrage of sword slashes for his side, teleporting and then smashing to the ground for his up special, summoning tentacles for his down.
I had to borrow it from No More Heroes 3 for that.
Yeah, I know you wrote it as energy tendrils, but let's be real, they're tentacles. Extra skill, he has 2 swords, and then his final smash is the Flying Irishman, which I'm only thinking of the Flying Dutchman, which I'm sure it's not that. It's probably, I'm guessing this is a maximum spider Triforce or Triforce slash type attack.
Pretty much. Well, actually, not really. It's more like just like a 1, 2, 3. You'd have to. It's based on a cutscene like that. If you get hit by it, you die instantly in his boss fight. It's less more like being hit over and over. It's just kind of like you go up in the air and he throws. It's kind of a bit like you go up, he hits you once, you go down, stabs you into the ground.
Okay.
It's similar, yeah. There's a few similarities.
It's maximum spider without all the extra attacks.
Basically, yeah.
Gotcha.
Maximum Irishman.
So, what are we thinking then between these two characters? Other things to mention in terms of like what they could do for Smash, arguments we want to make. Kelly, again, you're probably the primary person talking here. So we can tell like which one of these two we would put into Smash over the other.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I've been kind of cursorily looking over Kelly's two movesets here too, which I imagine I will for Tharja and Doc and Doc in a little bit here. But yeah, there are a few standouts that I like. Like free aim is a pretty interesting move for Issa Joe, where it looks like just like in Sin and Punishment, this isn't a kind of showing, like especially in the Wii version, you can use the reticle with the Wii mode and just aim wherever. This is the Smash version of that. Kelly, correct me if I'm wrong with anything that I'm reading here, but it just looks like it allows you to use different variations of a couple of the moves and to kind of shoot freely within a certain area with the reticle, which is interesting and not quite like anything in Smash yet. So I thought that was pretty cool. It's funny they have a beam sword kind of style connecting them. So Issa Joe is more like a little more like floaty and projectile based, a little more freeform in a way. Henry is very focused on, for the most part, the sword based moves and what you can do with the sword. Like the Dark Orbs is pretty different, but everything else is what are we doing with the weapon that we have, which is the kind of character that I tend to gravitate towards when playing Smash. So that's a plus for me personally. The dual cross swords is an interesting extra skill, changing up all of to stance change.
Yeah,
We know you like your stance changes, Jonno.
Yeah. So it's hard to say though, and yeah, I do love Sin and Punishment too. I remember vaguely, fondly loving this game when it first came out in 2009.
How long, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah,
my Wii busted, and there's no way to really replay it.
oh,
Oh,
I've heard
yeah.
nothing but good things about it. That's like one of the best rail shooters up there with like
Oh,
like Star Fox.
oh yeah. Same for the original Sin and Punishment.
Yeah, and that's really the bread and butter with the free aim, where like you'll have like it's a reflector, but you control the direction of the reflector. Or like so in
Hmm.
the main game, like missiles are coming at you, you put your cursor over here, and then you reflect it, and then it goes that way, and it hits that enemy. So I
Hmm.
was trying to recapture that mechanic sort of for Issa,
Sweet.
as well as with Issa's big addition from I'm sure we'll compare him a lot to Saki in this episode, but with Saki, he's just on his legs, he's running, he's jumping. That's well and good.
Hmm.
Issa's got the levitation pack, which gives him much more diversity for air movement. It was almost like a weird mishmash of Fox and Marth with more air
Hmm.
priority in a sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, they would hate him if he were in Melee then.
Yeah, he'd be busted too much. And
Anything you want to say about
yeah.
Henry at this juncture too, or
I'm
this
sorry, say again?
particular matchup? Oh, nothing. Just anything you wanted to say about Henry in this particular matchup too, like at this point.
Yeah, it's kind of like again, Henry kind of had to take a few liberties with his No More Heroes 1 or 2, I guess. Both 1 and 2 are very much removed from how he is in 3. Because he has a very specific boss fight in 3 that uh where the energy tendrils, the energy tendrils and the dual swords are taken from. So he's kind of a weird mishmash of both sides. One where it's just
Yeah.
his own, just him with his blade, and then the one where he's got the both of them. I tried to
Hmm.
kind of combine both of those elements because he's very much like you can have him be rushed down and have the pros and cons of dual wielding, or you can have him
Hmm.
be a bit more stylized and have the range like he has like partially homing shots with the dark orbs. And you can have multiple at once or just a single one to throw out. So he's got the kit for whatever you need him to be at the time, but he has to commit to it.
Hmm. Don't we all? Well, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah. I'm curious to hear what Zantok is thinking at this point too.
So, for me, this is a kind of a difficult to think about because neither of these characters, if I'm picking a character from either of these franchises to add to Smash, neither of them would be my picks. I would pick Saki and I would pick Travis. I think there
Mm.
is more of an argument to. I mean, I think there is more potential to go with Issa over Saki, just generally speaking, because two different games, two different protagonists, as opposed to Travis being the protagonist of the whole of
Yeah.
all of No More Heroes. But still, it's
Hmm.
like I look at them both and just like you're both the second tier, which is like
Hmm.
So I kind of have to think about this differently. Which like okay, I can't think I'd rather have Saki, so don't vote Issa, and I can't think I'd rather have Travis, so don't vote Henry. It's weird because I also don't think, at least as far as Henry is concerned, realistically does not get in before Travis. Issa realistically could before Saki. So I'm having to not
Yep.
focus on that, but I also had to mention it.
Hmm.
As far as these two characters, like what their abilities are and what they can do, if I'm thinking like who I like to play as, what kind of my styles, like I like the rush up and just slash a character. I like
Hmm.
running up and like just doing big hits of damage. Characters like Bowser, Cloud, Ike, King Day to Day. I love those characters. Henry fits that vibe more than Issa does. And since I
Hmm.
don't know any of these characters very well, gameplay is kind of where I have to be heavily influenced to see like how could they work, how would I play as them. So
Hmm.
so Henry is my lean just purely from that regard.
Totally
And I
love that.
guess this would, yeah, and I think this would be a good time to say that my lean is Issa. Um, Sin and Punishment being a Nintendo franchise that I am personally invested in hopefully seeing again one day. Beyond re-releases with a third entry would be pretty cool. And getting that little smash nod is like, hey, retro adjacent character with a cool like sci-fi background and some room to be a little more unique in the moveset potential. Like Lister put it, struck the nail on the head with saying like, yeah, Henry is like these characters in a sense. I think Issa, despite some callbacks to
Issa
Marth
is
and
Fox with
certain
a
things,
sword.
yeah, 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 yeah. And yeah, that's what I was saying. And in regards to like callbacks to Fox and Marth, it's more like adjacent to them. It's still like the combination of them is unique at the very least. It's strange and wonderful.
Better comparison for Issa.
and I
Issa is Pit.
yeah, in a
Issa
way,
is a
in a
mix of
way,
Brawl and Smash 4 Pit.
Oh yeah.
yeah, I could
Yeah,
I
you
could see
basically have
that.
to be, not to quote Doc here, but you basically have to dance like a mosquito. You have to pester your opponents. Unlike where Henry's the rushdown king, you want to be just dancing like Sin and Punishment. You want to not take hits as much as possible. You want to kind of dodge at the right time. You want to kind of
Hmm.
deliver do little pot shots over time, whittle away at them
Yeah.
with your energy blasts. I guess they both kind of have a similar side B as well. They basically just are clouds with the lightsaber instead of
Oh yeah,
a
Yeah.
button.
that's true.
That's about where
That
the
is very
similarities
true.
end. So
Yeah. Yeah, but it's hard to say because I again like I'm attracted to Henry's moveset on like a personal play level better, and I think that there's some unique qualities. Like again, I really like the extra skill. The up special is fairly interesting with how you're implementing a attack move into like a standard teleport to spice it up. I like that. So yeah, it's truly on the edge. I think I'll maintain my lean, but it's certainly soft. Like I could certainly change it. Just kind of mulling over it myself in my head.
Yeah.
right on.
Yeah, yeah. At two, Kelly.
Yeah, I think like a lot of cases, I think this comes down to a case of do I like the character because of their personality or do I like the character based on the mechanics they might bring? And I think with the case of Sin and Punishment, we all remember back when on the Brawl Dojo when assist trophies were being revealed, and it's like, here's Issa, or no, here's Saki, here's Saki MMI. It's like, dude, this guy looks cool. He's got a lightsaber that's also a gun. He looks like he fits right in. Like, what is this? This is so cool. He's
Yeah.
jumping around shooting, and I feel like that sort of style, like we've seen, like I think Smash Flash 2 features Saki as one of the playable characters and you can see kind of get a good demonstration for how well that it would gel in there. And yeah, it feels like from a raw gameplay perspective, it really brings like something unique. It's not just zoning, it's not just up close sword fighting. It's kind of a mix of both. Plus, with his air maneuverability and multiple air dodges, I should add, you can kind of
Hmm.
have a. It's basically like a not to do another reverse little Mac where you're the air king, but I guess you're not really bad on the ground either. You can just kind of have all these insane air based matchups. I feel
Yeah.
like my lean is also toward Issa just because of one, it's high time Sin and Punishment got any sort of bone thrown their way, and two, just to see how well that would kind of be realized in the Smash Bros. Gameplay style. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he's kind of more immediately related to, like you said, he's less of a secondary character, more of he's his own protagonist, sure, even if he does descend from the original like Saki. whereas Henry's the ratio of Henry being in the series to Travis is very one-sided, but it's done so in such a funny and parodic way that you can't help but but count him out. But yeah, I think my lean would be towards Issa as well.
That argument solidifies my vote. I'll say I'm voting for Issa.
I'll stick to Henry
Okay.
because why not?
Sure. He's just a cruel, handsome foil who happens to be your twin brother.
I will
There
say,
you go.
like, Issa makes more sense to me, again, purely because of the whole Travis before Henry, and Issa could go before Saki, but it's whatever.
It's tough, yeah. They both bring something unique.
Yeah.
I know who can voice Henry in the future after this show today.
Oh, okay.
Kelly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fake
Actually,
Irish accent.
we can have Kelly apply that accent to every character. Actually,
Have a rotten day.
I was thinking Wario too. How bizarre.
Irish Wario. There you go. That's a new one. But the stance change thing, I think, is one of Henry's strongest suits because I don't think we've really had a character who can dual wield, and that's part of their stance change.
Mm-hmm.
Not being able to pick up items or grab opponents, which is a trade-off that I don't think any other character would suffer from, but it's a unique one because it's knowing when to pull that out and when to put it away.
Yeah.
And of course, the Flying Irishman move, which is the best finishing move in any game ever.
It's pretty intense. I watched it while we were doing this.
There you go.
Yeah.
Perfect Final Smash material.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I guess. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Well, with that, Issa Joe is making its way to the Tournament of Champions at the end of the season. But now we have another matchup to get to. This time between two Nintendo characters whose franchises are already in Smash, which, as I mentioned earlier, is the first time Kelly had ever done this with any of his Smashtopia movesets. And I was just like, holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
One, it's characters I know, and two, it's characters that already have representation in Smash. It's like, whoa, this is wild.
They got a leg up.
Yeah. So we've got Tharja, however the hell it's pronounced, I don't know, from Fire Emblem Awakening against Doc Lewis of the Punch-Out franchise. Whereas the previous two characters had connections that you could kind of allude to, family-wise, laser weaponry. These two don't have shit. There's nothing connecting these two besides the fact that their main characters are already in Smash.
Actually, I think I'll go into this later, but I think they have some ways of connecting them, like something that kind of binds the two of them. But I'll get into that in a bit.
Really?
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So, introing the two characters then, we really should have lined this up before we started. I feel like any of us can talk about either of these characters, so does anybody in particular want to introduce either of them?
I honestly, I would, but I just know that Kelly's going to have some sort of embellishment to introducing these characters that I kind of want to hear.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
All right, if that's the case, I'll start with Doc. Doc's the dude who's always been in your corner since the 80s. A famous heavyweight champion from '54 of the WVBA circuit. Doc since retired and is now has been coaching Little Mac to become the next great champion of boxing. He loves his chocolate bars. He's an avid chocolate bar fan. I might say he likes them a bit too much. Whatever's in those things, I think those are the real. You might want to get those checked for performance enhancing drugs, but whatever.
Definitely some kind of drug.
Yeah, and I think in the original game he was sort of like your kind of cheat code because you push one of the buttons and he would start, I think, rubbing Mac's shoulder and saying like, "Come on, shake it off, Mac," and then you would replenish some health when you went back in, but on the trade-off that your punches would be weaker. So it was kind of a weird sort of last-ditch effort, but he was always the guy in your corner cheering you on, even with things like, even when Mac would be like, "I can't do it, Doc," he's all beat up, and Doc's like, "Yes, you can, Mac. Yes, you can. Don't give up, Mac." So he's faithful to the end. Got a great camaraderie with Mac. Honestly, he's one of the coolest support characters, secondary like support mentor characters in Nintendo.
I
I think
agree.
so. I love him.
And he says
And
chocolicious.
yep, that's Chalk. And you won't like him when he's angry, but we'll get to that later as well.
All right.
Big
And
big old Hulk veins. Yeah.
and what about Tharja?
Right. So we go from the power of chocolate to the power of dark magic. And so yeah, Tharja is a dark mage from a place named called a desert nation called Plegia. Plegia?
I think it's Plegia. To be
One
fair, they
pronunciation.
don't. I don't think they verbalize it, but Plegia makes sense to me.
Yeah, I always said Plegia as
Yeah.
well. So
Me too.
what was once thought to be a nation of insane cultists who worship an omnicidal dragon god named Grima, and who Crom's father in Fire Emblem Awakening led a bloody conquest against. So they're a bit touchy about peace relationships. So their leader Gangrel, he was all, we're gonna kill all these guys because we hate them because Crom's dad was a douche. And so I guess I can kind of see that, but the lengths he went to were so evil. For everything we got at these guys, screw peace. All of you are going to be conscripted to fight these dudes. Do it now. Yeah. And so Tharja, she's not really feeling this war. Why would you want to die for your country for reasons you don't know? Yada yada. Shepherds come in on their quest. It's like, hey, you kind of look like you're not really reluctant to fight. Crom goes up with all his charisma. It's like, you want to fight for us? And Tharja's like, yeah, let's do it. I don't care about any of these dudes. Let's do it. So she takes up arms against her deranged leader, and they all kill Gangrel, and they all have a happy ever after. Until 2 years later, when another tyrant comes into the picture. But anyway, so she's very skilled in the dark arts. She has a unique fascination with Robin, the tactician.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
Then
And
the
this one's gonna bring.
fandom really makes it worse.
Yeah, it's kind of. I feel like I would go so as far as to say that Tharja might be the most flanderized character in all of Fire Emblem because she's very self-aware. She's like a fish out of water. She's very used to being discriminated against. She's kind of awkward, gothy, sort of nerd-like energy. She's always kind of trying to like hide herself. She's got her book clutched against her chest. Um, but she slowly opens up. She makes friends with the shepherds. She helps a lot of the shepherds, like Gregor, whose brother, the original Gregor, he failed to save, and so she channeled his spirit so Gregor could talk to Gregor and forgive him. And she did a lot of other acts of goodwill towards her fellow shepherds, but she would rather not people know that because she's got a reputation to uphold.
I feel that. I feel that.
And so to quickly make a point that I was going to say earlier, I think Doc and Tharja have they sort of have a shared sense of almost like a therapist in a way. They're both kind of, well, with Doc's case, he's very much the more outward supporting character. He's always championing Mac. He's always trying to kind of keep him on the up and up, bring him back to health.
Mhm.
Here's some chocolate. Tharja's kind of the unspoken therapist of the group. She's always kind of treating, or there's a lot of supports that I could list, but I won't list them all. That she has these moments where you wouldn't expect it to be the case, but she casts a hex on, I think, Kellen's family as a
Ooh.
way to kind of keep them all safe during the war. I think with Noe, that she tries to scribe for her parents' location, but they are unable to be found. But she doesn't tell her that they're dead. So yeah, so I think that both of them have a kind of fostering sort of. Why are you guys laughing?
No,
You said she does something for Kella, but I'm just like, who?
Oh wait, who was that again? I can't remember.
Exactly. And then Jonno catches it, and we notice like you just keep going like you did not notice like this is.
It's the easiest. It's the lowest of low hanging fruit
It
in the
is.
FE. But, you know.
Awakening.
Oh my gosh.
I had to Google the word. Awakening. You were talking about flanderization. Awakening's characters. I really feel like the fandom really oversimplifies a lot of the. And to be fair, Awakening's characters don't have a lot to them. At least not from my eye of them, more than the Fates characters do. I'll say that.
Yeah.
But like
So-
when I played Awakening for the first time, which was years after the game was out, I knew most of what happened with. I knew all the characters' names. There were a couple characters I was like, for just how the internet reacts to them and how people talk about them. I expected certain characters like Tharja to have a much bigger part of the game than they do. Instead, Tharja's part of the game is just like, "Hi, they suck. Robin interests me. Yeah, I'll join your team." And she talks a little bit in that chapter, but then after that, nothing outside of
Yeah.
supports, which is a problem I think Awakening and Fates both have a lot.
It's
I think it's generally kind of a Fire Emblem problem. Like you have a couple of main characters, but then everybody else you recruit, they have
too
their
many.
introduction, and then you don't see them again outside of supports in the games that
Mhm.
have supports.
It's definitely it's definitely a double-edged sword because you have so much of a cast that you like, and I think it kind of works in a strange way with like a lot of characters. If you really try, you can kind of boil a lot of them down to a single trait.
Yep.
But it makes sense that at first that's all you would know about a character. Like for an example, Long Ku, he's definitely afraid of women for some reason. Why? We don't know at first, but as you get to know him through his other supports, you start to understand what kind of drove him to be that way in his backstory, and that can apply to many characters. But even if it kind of stunts their growth with the limited supports that you get,
Yeah,
I
and
can appreciate.
and I understand why Fire Emblem does this. They have a good reason for doing this with the majority of their cast. One, as you mentioned, is a large cast, but they do that because Fire Emblem, if at least as far as like the classic gameplay rule set, if a character dies and you move on to the next chapter, they're gone.
Mm.
So they don't want to
Yeah.
give a lot of important dialogue to all these characters because, well, what if they die? Or what if in Tharja's case you don't recruit her?
Mhm.
I think they could work around it, just have a different character say something, or have an NPC soldier walk in and say something. But I get it. I just wish that wasn't the case. And it's why I like Three Houses a lot, because they're almost every character has has dialogue and actually does things.
They
Maybe
have
not
stakes.
Raphael, but everybody else. He's the one that looks actually like Raphael's an old Fire Emblem character. Most of the others, they feel like they're living in this world. Not him. He's just here to eat food.
You want to tell Raphael that to his face?
Yeah.
Oh man.
You want to see my muscles?
Anyway,
I can see them
yeah.
because you're not wearing a shirt.
Yep.
But
I see what you're saying.
Oh my gosh.
yeah. So like what I was shocked when I played Awakening to be like, wow, Tharja just doesn't have a big part of this game. Her and Tiki were the two that I expected to be important characters. And they weren't. Tiki especially was like, you do
They're
this
both on the
whole
box.
thing to bring her back. You've aged her up, and you've given her important lore, but she's a side character. She's just there to cameo and to get the Marth fans in. That's the only reason she's in the game, and I think it's a big shame.
And they're both, even the two of them, Tharja and Tiki, they're both on the box art. They're part of the group that are falling through the air, I guess, going
Mhm.
ah. But maybe it was
Mhm.
time constraints. I'm not sure what the deal was, but yeah.
Possibly, but
Mhm.
also again, like Tiki is wholly optional. You don't have to recruit her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will say with these matchups too, with this matchup too, this for me kind of comes down to a few things. Number one, my desire for a dark magic user, whether it's Fire Emblem or otherwise. Her and Tharja's moveset is very well done. I really enjoy what Kelly put into it on the wiki, and committing committing to reading some of it now. I think this is one of my favorite movesets from you, Kelly. Because it is so well done and focused on on the dark magic aspect. Like it's very, very strong. And then Doc Lewis, again, it's just kind of that again, it's that versus my desire for like, yeah, Doc Lewis would be very funny.
Yeah, not
And
gonna
just
lie.
like I kind of love this guy.
And really, if you think about additional characters from Punch Out, you think of Doc Lewis or you think of King Hippo, and then anything else is like D tier at best. Like, yeah,
Pass Joe for
we've talked about Great Tiger, but I don't think that's like I would pick the others over him.
Sure.
Yeah. Doc is a good character. A lot of Punch Out feels outdated, but him and King Hippo are also kind of the two side characters that feel on top of all of that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't even know in that matchup who I'd go for. Like again, King Hippo is maybe more unique. He's so huge. He has the like sewer plate on his belly button. And whatever.
Way you cheat,
But
the cheating going on in the title defense mode. Yeah.
I mean that's obviously going to be there on an alt for sure.
Yeah,
I think base doesn't have it, but alt's got it.
Yeah, I'd be down with that. And then, but
Giant
then Doc, I mean, I like what Kelly's done here too, giving him his iconic training bike, his iconic like jump rope kind of thing that was especially prevalent in some of the Wii version cutscenes. And Kelly, do you want to talk about the unique trait you've given Doc Lewis?
Yeah, I was hoping you would ask.
Yeah.
So yeah, the unique trait for Doc is Angry Doc, and Angry Doc stems from one little scene from Doc Lewis's Punch Out, which was a Club Nintendo exclusive software for a while, where you could actually train and fight against Doc in the gym as little Max. So Doc's whole thing was that occasionally he would step back, eat a chocolate bar, regain some health, all well and good. But on the highest level of training against Doc, there would be moments where he would make that part of his moveset where he would pull out a chocolate bar and he'd go, check this out. And you could either do nothing and let him eat it and gain more health, or if you were feeling confident enough, you could take a swipe at him, knock the chocolate bar out of his grasp, and he would go, no! And he would go, now you've done it. And he would rip open his shirt and he would have like this leopard print jacket underneath. And then a menu would pop down saying, warning, removal of Doc Lewis's chocolate bar may cause player frustration. We are not responsible for anything beyond this point. Which you had to click and accept with the Wiimote cursor, and it was brilliant. So the way I kind of articulated that into his moveset was that it was a way you could either have it as a taunt, or that's the way I've got it. You could also have it as like a shield B sort of move, where once per stock you could eat the chocolate bar and gain some health, recover. But the opponent could also, you could time it if you wanted it to almost be a counter in a way, where if the opponent hit you, same idea, you become Angry Doc with super armor on all your smash attacks and strong attacks, at the cost of that he's so angry he can't think rationally anymore, and that he loses the ability to use his up special. So his recovery is now off the table until he loses a stock, but he's gained a buff for all of his attacks and super armor.
That's a great way. Losing the up special. That's a great way to do risk versus reward in Smash. Like, all right, we're giving you a big power up, but your ability to recover is fucked. And I'm assuming Doc, probably like Mech, has shitty normal jumps.
That's why I kind of gave him kind of like K. Rool, where he's got the really good recovery distance to accommodate for that, as well as his side B, or just burst options. He can travel quite a bit with that jump rope. And I guess it kind of emulates some of the fighters in Punch-Out itself, where when they're on their last legs, they start getting desperate. Like Soda Popinski, he's getting on his last legs. He starts drinking the mega soda, so to speak, and his muscles bulge, and he gets steams coming out of his ears, and they start pulling a lot of last-ditch efforts. So that's what I kind of wanted to.
There's been discourse recently about the future of Punch-Out, and like if we could get another games, like is it possible? Like, because there was talk about like supposedly due to characters in the Wii games like being very stereotypical, people are worried about controversy, so they don't want to make another one because they don't want people to go, you can't do this with these characters. Like, okay, I don't think Punch-Out needs to have those characters. I think what Punch-Out needs to do with whatever characters Little Mac fights next is they all need to be cheaters. I think that's the interesting thing with these characters. You give them weird personality traits, and then you make them be they all cheat in some way. I think that's been consistent across the franchise. Even with like Super Punch Out, I'm pretty sure they were all cheaters in that game too. Doc with his chocolate bar, Soda Pocahontas with his soda, King Hippo with a giant steel plate on his belly button covering his weak
And
spot.
Ryan putting a
Great,
little brick into your glove, your boxing glove, and then tying it to a rope and swinging it like a whip.
yeah. Great
Nice.
Tiger does like shadow clone shit or something. Have a character. It turns out they have brass knuckles or something, or
Yeah,
somebody's
Bob's
carrying dynamite and he has an explosive punch.
throws
There's things you
dynamite,
can
as
do.
long as it works.
So
Give-
Wario should be the next guest fighter then.
We had Donkey Kong
Could
already,
be
so
up
there
there.
you go.
Yep.
I can't believe they were going to have Peach initially. Like that, I think that would have been in the Wii game. It was going to be Peach instead of Donkey Kong.
Is
That
she
was
gonna have
weird.
like frying pans to?
I don't
What?
know. I don't know, but that
I mean, she's boxing. If we count the Olympic Games, technically she's done boxing before, but
like
interesting.
that was their original plan. They swapped the Donkey Kong, and I think that's a better choice, personally.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Huh.
um,
Know that.
like I think Doc would be a lot of fun. I think in some ways he is a better but also worse version of Little Mac. Better because he's the origin. He's one that taught Little Mac everything he knows. Worse because he's old and tired and fat. He ain't in his best shape anymore.
On his prime, yeah.
Yeah. I would like a second Punch Out character because I just think that's fun, and I think Doc would be a not a Pichu, not a Dan Hibiki, but definitely a okay. You were not meant to be strong, kind of like Little Mac was intentionally given some weaknesses. I think Doc would be seen in a similar ways, like you're not meant to be a great character, but you would be a fun inclusion. Tharja, meanwhile, Jonno, as you mentioned, we'd like to have a dark mage in Smash, whether it's from Fire Emblem or some other franchise. Fire Emblem has its problem that we've talked about numerous times on this show with its roster and how it's just sword boys after sword boys after sword boys. And we'd like them to mix it the fuck up. Having a dedicated mage, such as Tharja, would be a great choice. And honestly, I would pick a dedicated dark mage over a dedicated other kind of mage for Fire Emblem because a other kind of mage can be from any other franchise. It'd be easier to do that. That said, Ashley also would kind of qualify as a dark mage, probably. So you could do Ashley instead of Tharja. And Tharja, I don't know if she's necessarily my personal dark mage of choice from Fire Emblem. Me being a Three Houses fan, I would like to say Lysithea. But there's also Leon from Sacred Stones. There's Nurgle. But Tharja being from Awakening, I think puts her probably higher up than most because she's popular and Awakening is popular. And hey, we've already got 3 other Awakening characters, so why not a 4th? But Tharja, like, there's not too many different Dark Mage tomes to pull from. But I think there's enough. Like in your moveset, I'm not going to go over all the details of everything, but you've got her using Hex, Mire, Versus Knight, Goetia, and a powered up form of Ruin. Also in Awakening, there is Waste, there is Flux. There's no Sferatu, but Robin kind of has that one already.
Yeah.
And there's Grima's, and then there's Grima's Truth, which I don't think I would give her. I think that's the one for sure that I would lock out away from Tharja. Like, no. That one's not
She's not
yours.
a fan.
Yeah, and also it doesn't make sense for her. That'd make more sense for Robin, honestly, or Aversa. Although you do have Tharja using Aversa's personal tome, but who cares?
It's a Heroes reference. She uses it in Heroes, so I say, all right, that's fair game.
True. In Heroes, she has other tomes as well that she uses. Not really counting her holiday alts because I don't think we're gonna have Candelabra. I don't think that's going to happen. We're not going to do Mooseful, Fire Posey, or Pelagian Torch, actually, is it possible. That one's actually based on Pelagia stuff. Seashell Bowl, I don't think that's happening. Scroll of Curses in her Ninja Alt, I don't think that's happening. But they also
Mhm.
give her. Did I say this one already? Oh no, I guess that is from Awakening. But there's also Router Blade, or however the hell that's pronounced, which is unique to Heroes, I think. But she's the first mage unit in Heroes to use that particular tome, and it summons out like a spectral sword, I think. So it's like, sure, she could do that. I mean, that would reference the fact that her class promotes in Awakening are either Sorcerer or Dark Knight. I think I pulled more from Sorcerer than I would from Dark Knight, but having like a
Mhm.
spectral red sword attack is there's an idea there. Uh,
Just to add to that quickly, because apparently a lot of like the meta in Awakening is the Sorcerer Nosferatu combo, where you
mm,
do something called Nosferatu tanking, where basically the more you get hit, the more you can heal, and
Oh
you can
God.
basically you can build like an unkillable dark mage.
mm.
So yeah, that's partially why I didn't want to give her. That's kind of her like the dark mage signature spell is Nosferatu, but again, you've got the situation with Robin already using it, so I didn't want to make it too similar.
Yeah, and I would do the same thing. With with Nosferatu, just like no. Unless you were to remove it from Robin, which even in my Smashtopia version of Robin's moveset, I let him keep Nosferatu. That way he has like one spell of each type, which is probably what the reasoning for Smash, even though he doesn't actually
Mhm.
use Dark Magic and Awakening. He keeps Nosferatu, and Tharja can just use the others. She doesn't need it. Robin's already got it. We don't need to have it on both people, even if they were to use it in different ways. Which
It's
I
the
don't
Nest
know.
situation. Nest uses PK that he doesn't use in his own game, but maybe Paula taught him. I don't know.
No, I mean that's Sakurai's canon answer. Is Paula taught Ness
Yeah,
how to use it, and I guess Kumatora did the same for Lucas, or either that, or Lucas arrived to Smash not having any offensive spells, and that's just like, oh dear, oh child, here, come with me, let me teach you some spells.
take some. Yeah,
I guess it's not true. He would have had PK freeze because I think that is actually a Lucas spell. I think. I'm not sure.
I think it's
Yeah.
Kumatora,
Yeah.
but still, whatever. Yeah,
It's
same
something,
idea.
but like there are definitely things that you can pull from Tharsha to give her different spells, and all the in the dark magic. Sometimes they'll be animated one way in one game. They'll have a completely different animation in another game. So you could take
Yeah.
say Flux. I don't know how the spells look. But it's like if the animation in Awakening is kind of whatever, but the animation in Three Houses or Engage is incredible. Steal it from a different
Hmm.
game.
Hmm.
Whatever. Who cares? It's not like if you're not going to have Ivy and you're going to have Tharsha as a dark mage rep instead, then fuck it. You don't have to. You can steal the shit from Engage.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, this is a great matchup for me. And I'm realizing, like how many great dark mages there are in like Fire Emblem history. What Ivy I would actually like her to be in Smash if we had to go Engage. That would be pretty cool. Um, and yeah, you mentioned Lysithea and Hubert. This is another one who I actually quite enjoy as a character. Um, Peleus from Radiant Dawn. I like Canis from Fire Emblem 7. There's a lot. But anywho, just Tharja. I'm not anti Tharja. My biasy is kind of not having more awakening in Smash.
Yeah.
That's totally
I'm
valid.
I'm
Yep.
I'm kind of feeling, it's just, as a longtime Fire Emblem fan, it's just there's so many more other avenues that we can enter. I'm already frustrated enough by not having the weapon triangle properly represented, having Smash fans who don't know Fire Emblem, like, oh, we need to stop having Fire Emblem. It's like, no, we just need it
Oh
properly
yeah.
represented.
Yeah.
Um, but so in a way, I feel like even though she's unique, it would kind of feed into that problem with her being from Awakening, to an extent,
Mm.
and also just the connotations, which I agree are ill served to her of the character in the greater like popular like meme community is sad. Um, but so she's not my first choice personally, but I like what Kelly put down for her, and I actually wouldn't be personally against it. Like I would be okay with it,
Yeah.
especially on the grounds of having a dark mage to play as. Um, this is
Like
one of those situations where like everything in my mind says Tharja, except for just like I kind of want to say Doc Lewis anyway.
Yeah. Of all the characters, like hypothetically, if we were to get another character from Awakening, Crom and Lucina's status notwithstanding, um, of all of them, and again, also not considering Tiki or Anna because they're not original to Awakening, but I think
Mhm.
Tharja would be the one I would add next. If I had to add
Oh, I
another
agree.
Awakening original character, it would be Tharja. It'd either be Tharja or for the funnies, I would go with Gangrel.
Yeah. Levin sword go
Okay.
boom.
I like crazy characters. They're so fun.
You know, the pose he does on his
Like,
artwork, like the
yes,
Yeah.
Gangrel would
Yeah.
Gangrel would move in a very non-standard way. Like imagine his running animation. He's not going to run like a
trickster.
normal person.
What's his class? I think he's a trickster in his
I
class when
think
you play
yeah, he's a trickster. Yeah.
trickster Ganondorf. That's a funny thing to think about, but yeah,
Oh,
He'd be
boy.
funny as hell.
I can picture it. Yeah, just him like his rolls and his like his little like get up attacks where he's trying to fight like dirty and take
Mhm.
every exploit the battlefield basically and just conniving. Yeah,
Yeah, he'd be a dirty
another
fighter for sure.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't know who my next choice would be after Tharja. Maybe like Pan.
Honest,
Giant
that's
funny
yeah,
Pan.
Pan's a good choice.
Yeah.
Pan's a
Yeah,
really
yeah,
good choice.
beast fighters.
It's not going to be Vake. It's not going to be Muriel.
yeah.
It's not going to be Noir. Which, speaking of Noir, Kelly, you said Tharja's like a therapist. I'm sorry, she's the reason Noir needs therapy.
But that's part of like the time travel ethics is like, who are you in the future and are you still that person now and can you change? Because I bought the DLC for the Future Past,
Mm,
and that one's unique because every parent character has a unique conversation. You know, some of the supports are all like bread and butter, copy pasted with a few names changed.
yeah.
They're all unique supports for the child units, and the whole thing with Tharja being like, "I'm not your actual mom. I'm sorry," and Nora's like, "I don't care. I still like," and her just being like, "All right, like stop crying. We're gonna get through this, Nora. Come on, like let's cook up a good curse together." There's little like it's like you know that's the whole thing where like people are blaming future Tharja and not present day Tharja for how Noir ended up and the whole like at first initially you can kind of see glimmers of like, oh, I'm gonna kind of like put like a curse on you, but it's like, oh, I kind of effed you up in the future, so you know what, I'm gonna put a stop to that, and we're gonna try to bond be better from now on. So I stand by that sort of a some idea.
Fair enough.
But anyway, if I could also add
Mhm.
one quick side aside, I think Tharja has the unique trait of being the only character to get a Smash trophy, but then later have it be removed from the game because she was too sexy for Smash.
Not
Yeah.
sure she was the only one, but I do know like she was notable. Because she was
That one
in the
trophy.
ESRB leak
That's the
that
one.
we had, and then she wasn't in the full game. I'm not sure if she's the only. I'm trying to see if I can
Maybe there's a
find
few
that.
others in there. I just think that idea is funny where it's like, oh, she crossed the line. The original Mai Shiranui, if you will.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely was the only one removed in Smash 4, at least to our knowledge. I can't, not finding. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe that still help me out. Unused content page. Is there anything there for trophies? Ooh, hang on. I'm seeing trophies that were planned but not put in the game for Melee. A lot of Fire Emblem ones, apparently, and ones from Rare games. Actually, they were dropped due to apparently they were trying to contact Rare to ask permission. They just and Rare never called back. I guess.
Oh,
Wow.
they got ghosted.
And then it looks like Brawl was going to have like you know how Melee had like the trophy alts where they'd be doing one of their special moves. They had a different costume. Brawl was going to have something like that, but then they got removed.
Right, right.
But beyond that, just Tharja. Oh, apparently there was also a
Yeah.
DK Junior trophy that got removed from Brawl, it seems, or like an older version of it. I'm not really sure.
Hey, Junior, you say?
Yeah, DK Junior once again getting the shaft.
What a shame. Can't catch a break, that guy.
Nope. All right. That's it. We are coming up on time. We're almost at our 2 hour mark, guys. So we need to go ahead and lock in our votes for Tharja and Doc Lewis. Who are we putting into Smash, and whose hopes do we dash?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
What do you think, Jono? Have you considered your options?
I have. I kind of feel like Zantok in the first round here. Like I'm kind of don't believe in what I'm about to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. Doc Lewis.
Doc Lewis, there you go.
Interesting.
Shock Lewis.
Yeah.
I'm guessing a lot of that's just the whole Fire Emblem malarkey.
Well, that and liking his character quite a bit.
Fair. That's my struggle. It's like I like a dark mage, but I also just like we have a lot of Fire Emblem, and it's already poorly represented. We already have 3 characters from Awakening. I don't know why I was thinking 4 earlier. For some reason, I thought we had 4.
Mm-hmm.
Drop Crumb and Lucina, and I'll be more okay with this. But Doc Lewis, meanwhile, is only the 2nd character from his franchise. Would be similar to Mac. There's no denying that. The 2nd character and like a very fun personality, and he's gonna be saying lines in his taunts and animations. His his
yeah.
attacks for sure.
Hit him, baby.
There's just a lot of I associate Doc Lewis with not being a good fighter in Smash, but a fun character to use and just have fun with. Tharja, I think, would be a lot more standard, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. That's where I'm lining up with the 2 of them.
One thing I think we forgot to mention was we talked about Doc Lewis's extra skill with Angry Doc, but I don't think we talked about Tharja's extra skill.
Vengeance, yeah, it's one of the skills that she can learn and equip in Awakening. You have her entering a Vengeance state where she gets a ghoulish purple glow and she slowly heals. And then during this time, any attack involving dark magic, the default damage adds an extra quarter of the damage difference between Tharja and her opponent. And while she's so if Tharja's at 100, her opponent's at 50, then an extra 12.5% will be added to the attack. And considering during this mode she's slowly healing. No, she's not slowly healing. She's slowly getting more damage.
So this was sort of taken from how it's illustrated in Fire Emblem Warriors, actually, because in that game, when you play as Tharja, that's her base, or Vengeance is her base skill. You're actually losing damage over time, but the less damage you have, the harder you're hitting. So you literally want Tharja on death's door as much as possible, but like a single breeze will kill her instantly. So
and she's
Smash,
probably a lighter character, so it's even easier to knock her out. Like she's not a Jigglypuff, but she's gonna be lighter than Ike.
Yeah.
So say you went to training mode and you set her to 999 damage, turned on Vengeance mode, F smashed Pichu, you deal about maybe 13-14% damage plus maybe 267% damage. I'm not saying it's regular gameplay, but it's doable.
We found another connection between these 2 characters. They both have a very high risk, high reward mechanic to them. My God.
Yeah.
It's kind of representative of dark magic as a whole, is that you can really dish it out, but at the cost of your own longevity, perhaps. So
yeah.
Well, that and to Tharja's credit here, this is uniquely her skill with the tie into Warriors. So this is something that sets her apart from the other dark mages. And in a sense, I mean, you can apply it to anyone, but for the sake of the argument, it started with her in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a difficult matchup. It's
Yeah.
like genuinely is, and 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 to a certain point, it's for the negatives of the characters. I mean, Punch Out not being incredibly relevant, having a second character being kind of like what?
Yeah,
um,
no,
Fire Emblem again with the representation issues that they have, Awakening being like a sublet uh, part of it. Um, yeah, it's hard to.
it's
Yeah,
tough. Yeah,
I was really on the edge. I'm gonna keep with my vote for the sake of time.
stick with Doc.
Yeah, and again, I genuinely like the guy, and I like what you came up with for both of them.
Thank you.
Right. Kelly, what do you think?
Mm, again, it comes down to I think character versus or personality versus mechanics. And if we're looking at it from purely a technical, mechanical perspective, I think I would skew towards Tharja because of what she can do with her kit. The
Mhm.
neutral B is weaponizing the power of brawl tripping, or say
That's
you
true.
cast it on, or say you cast it on an ally and friendly fires on. Say they're off stage, they use their recovery. You make them flinch with hex. They use their recovery again. You could do some busted strats with that. So I would say I'd lean Tharja just for the deviousness you could pull off. But if we were down to like the character personality, I think I would love to see what Doc would get up to with his cheesy jokes and his chocolate bars shenanigans. But yeah,
Right.
I think I'll say Tharja for the lean.
All right. And it comes down to me and which character I am going to be voting for today. I like both. I like both of these. I think both can bring new things to well, yeah, they both can bring new things to Smash while also being I don't want to use the word derivative. Being based off of something else already exists in Smash with Little Mac and Robin already. Um, for I want to vote for both these characters for very different reasons, which I think is all three of us. We like put both these characters against somebody else from their franchise even, and we'd probably vote for these characters. Uh, I guess that
Yeah.
depends on who they're. Doc Lewis, that's an easy say. Tharja, well, I mean, if she's against like, I mean, if she's
Henry?
against Aaliyah, she wins. If she's against like Cynthia,
Yes.
I don't know. Uh, or some other. If she's against like, Doc, what the hell's wrong with you today? He's being weird. I don't know,
Mm.
but I think I'm just gonna go with Doc. I'm just gonna keep it simple. I'm just gonna vote Doc Lewis. Fun character, personality. I think he's ride the bike and ram into people.
Yep.
There's he's just a silly choice, but I love it.
He
Well,
brings
there
a
you
certain
go.
energy with his yeah, with his it's ironic. He's a heavyweight fighter who can recover better than Little Mac can, the character that he kind of derives a bit from.
Yeah.
That's kind of what set it over the edge for me, is imagining him skipping jump rope in midair. I was like, okay.
And another thing that he was kind of I took inspiration from was a character from not to bring up JoJo's again, but JoJo's All-Star Battle. One of the characters in that game is named Josuke, and he's got a taunt you can activate where he likes his haircut, very stylish, very retro. If anybody hits him, they'll insult his haircut, and he'll be like, "What did you say about my hair?" And he immediately gains super armor, and he starts walking towards his opponent, and you can't stop him because he's so mad. And he just keeps beating on his opponent. But that's partially where I kind of inspired the Angry Doc from. So
Nice.
lots of situations you could do that.
Yeah. Again, like kudos to you, Kelly, and thanks for your time again. Like 4 really strong move sets. And yeah, I think this shows where Smash or Dash kind of veers, because if we were basing it off of what you came up with, I probably would have gone for Tharja. I think it was a really strong move set. Maybe one of my favorites from you. I think you really did the Dark Mage well. But again, like I also love Doc Lewis.
Who doesn't, honestly? He's one of the coolest
Yeah,
mentor coach
yeah,
characters in maybe all of gaming. He's just hard to replicate
for
that That
that
energy.
attitude. Yeah, absolutely. Well, with that, we have Issa Joe and Doc Lewis moving on to compete in the Tournament of Champions at the end of the year. Who knows how they will fare? It's a weird bunch so
Oh
far.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be. I really don't know how this. I mean, there's sometimes we know like certain characters. Okay, they'll probably do well, but I'll kind of just like I don't know what direction this will go. It's gonna go. We have a. We got some weird picks this year.
You said that last time. Are they going to be even
Yeah.
weirder?
No.
Um.
In some the overall cast, I would say no, but in some regards, yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Look forward to
Like
seeing
so.
those choices.
Yeah.
That said, let's wrap up. So it's been another Smash Dash, another Kellyjelly Special, our 6th one. We still got 7 characters
Wow.
currently that have not appeared in this Smash Dash episode of yours. So we have enough material for, well, one more season, actually. You're going to have to give us at least one more if you want to appear in season 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
In
have
a
to add one
Smash
more
Dash
to get it
anyway.
to a nice even number in the future.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But next from Super Cash Brothers, we've got something different. Last season, we introduced a Smashtopia Live episode where we had like a whole spinning wheel, and we just spun the wheel to pick what Pokemon we were going to be making moveset for live on the show. And we did that like off our normal sequence of episodes. We're still going to be
Mhm.
doing that later this season, unless something changes by the time we get to that point. But we've got a different kind of live episode coming for you in a week, happening off cycle as well, which is a roster making episode that we're going to be doing live, and we're doing like a different. I don't know how to word this. There's going to be like a game out of it where we can't just be like, oh, we want this character, this character, and this character. It's not doesn't work that way. It's more like there's a grid of characters. We're going to roll a number. We have to discuss all the characters in line with that particular cell. We can only pick one character from that group. Adds a little bit of difficulty to it. It's going to be interesting. John, should we actually say what the roster of that one is for? Like what we're doing?
Yeah, that'll hype it up.
Nintendo versus Capcom.
Ooh.
30 Nintendo characters and 30 Capcom characters will be picked out of a grid of 100 possibilities of each.
Yep.
Some characters, I will say, because it is already recorded, I will say that there are some characters that made it on. There's like, wow, you would not have made it on otherwise. And there's some characters that didn't make it, and it's like, man, you got screwed. You should have made it if we were doing a normal roster. But because of the grid game, they were either they were never in consideration, or there's just somebody more important that they were up against.
Yep.
It's an interesting thing.
It was fun, and it will be fun to listen to.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then, of
Well-
course, after that, we're back to our normal scheduled on topic where we were talking about boss battles and how those have worked in Smash so far, and maybe how they'll work in the future.
Metal Face will be there.
I don't know
Like a
why
hot-
you said Metal Face, but I just pictured Metal Sonic. I'm just like, why would Metal Sonic be there? Oh, Face, right? Yes, he will be there.
Not Metal Slug.
No,
I can see why Metal Sonic would be fresh in your mind.
yeah.
Well, here's to Kelly.
Thank you again
Here's
for
to
having me
Jelly.
on. Great discussions
Yeah,
all around.
I love to eat it. The jelly, that is.
And with that, we're done.